Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. Next on the what if blank joined Formula One list is a brand that we haven't actually seen much from over the last few years in terms of motorsport, but there's been some recent announcements that show a bit of change of heart, and maybe we'll be seeing this marquee back at the motorsport pedestal very soon. I am of course talking about Peugeot. Peugeot does have a pedigree in Formula One. Historically, they supplied engines to McLaren, Jordan, and Prost throughout periods of mostly within the 90s, before pulling out of the sport in the year 2000. And actually, after their withdrawal in 2000, their director at the time, Frédéric Saint-Just, explicitly said, and I quote, "I want one thing to be made totally clear, we are pulling out of Formula One for good. In life, one must never say never." You just did, but go on. "But if you want my opinion, it is that Peugeot will never again race in F1. Strong words. Now, of course, it is 21 years after, so things do change over time. Frédéric is no longer director, although he still does retain some kind of advisory position to the board at Peugeot. So would Peugeot ever really make a return to F1? Well, again, that announcement I talked about before from 2022, they're going to be running the 98X in Le Mans. Beautiful looking car, star-studded 9-driver lineup. They look to be making a big move after being out of Le Mans for a good, it's about 10 years, 9-10 years, something like that. And after that announcement, people were chucking Peugeot left, right and centre in the comments to the previous videos. So we're bringing it to life today. To anyone who hasn't seen these videos before, I'm going to go through each of the kind of base fundamental parts that make up the Formula One team. So the engine supplier, the drivers, the driver overalls, the livery, and the team principal to create what I think this brand could look like if it was in Formula One today. And yes, I'm talking today, not in 2022 with the new engine regulations. We're sticking to the 2021 car model for the livery, which all of this is essentially based around. I do need to get my head around the F1 2022 car chassis. It is in Assetto Corsa. I could use it for this video, but I'm sticking with the current 2021 car to see what I think it might look like. Part of the reason why I think my channel's done so well is that I've been able to take my skills in graphic design and apply them to my videos, whether it's making my liveries, whether it's just editing my videos together as well in Premiere Pro. That's all been self-taught. But something like Skillshare, I feel like, is the perfect platform if you're looking to learn these kind of creative skills particularly. Skillshare has thousands of vetted courses covering graphic design, animation, creative writing, music production, photography, marketing, entrepreneurship. I could go on. One course I have mentioned before, and I've already started watching it, is MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee, YouTube Don legend, has put together a Skillshare course all about his video making process. Yes, he's got the tech, he's got the super expensive cameras, but at the end of the day, there's still loads you can learn from his creative process. I can tell you're interested. So the first 1,000 subscribers who click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can explore in that creativity that is inside all of us today. Cheers Skillshare. Now back to the video. Starting off with the engine. Which engine is going to go into this Peugeot? Now Peugeot are one of those car brands that are owned by a big parent organisation that owns loads of other car brands, but few people have actually heard of that parent organisation. That company is called Stellantis. Now, I remember this one because I did a video with Donut Media a little while back. We brought a Dodge F1 car to life. Dodge are also owned by Stellantis. Now, looking through their portfolio of brands, there is only one that jumps out as having an F1 link, and they have a pretty big one because it's Alfa Romeo. And Alfa Romeo are powered by Ferrari in Formula One right now and have been for quite a few years, that Alfa Romeo Sauber team. So the choice for me is between Ferrari and Peugeot developing it in-house because, again, Peugeot do have pedigree in building engines and they've already built a new hybrid engine to stick in that 98X. It's a 680 horsepower V6 hybrid motor in the back. Again, they're looking to make big waves on their return to the hypercar, WEC, Le Mans, whatever you want to call it, battlefield, right? And I feel like if they're developing their own engine for that, they might want to develop their own engine for Formula One. But for now, and I'm specifying for now, I would say that they would go with Ferrari. They can take the learnings from Alfa Romeo. They can hit the ground running pretty quick. I think going into 2022 as well, that Ferrari power unit looks like a good one, unlike last year where it was pretty terrible. But the reason I specify for now is those new engine regulations in 2025. Why would Peugeot go to the length of developing a whole new, brand new hybrid power plant from scratch when that engine is going to be completely pointless and useless from 2025 onwards because of the new regulations, right? We saw that Audi and Porsche joined Mercedes, Ferrari, Renault and Red Bull powertrains, along with Formula One, of course, to discuss the new engine regulations very recently, like last weekend from the time of filming, to talk about 2025 onwards, right? Again, they'd only get 3 seasons out of a new engine, so they might as well just pluck Ferraris, stick it in their car. When 2025 comes along, then maybe they can work on their own thing. So the Peugeot Formula One team would be powered by a Ferrari engine for now. Maybe their own from 2025 onwards though. Next we have the team principal, who's going to be leading the lines front and centre at Peugeot. Well, when Peugeot were last in Formula One, their last little stint before they pulled out, they were powering the Prost Formula One team. Alain Prost is about. He's at Renault. He's very, very in bed with Renault at the minute. I can't see. I don't know what that relationship is there. There was clearly a relationship in the past, but it feels like Renault have very much got their claws dug firmly into Alain Prost, so I can't see him moving away. They could poach from somewhere else. I mean, Cyril Beatable is out of a job, but then I've already said in my Lotus, what if Lotus returns to F1 video, that he would lead the lines there. So he's off the table as far as I'm concerned. So instead, I'm going to look at someone who's already within the Peugeot family. And I had a little look through and someone stood out amongst the rest of the kind of seniority at Stellantis. Jean-Marc Finot joined Peugeot SA back in December 1999 as Vehicle Synthesis Director. Whatever that means. I've just translated it from French, so it might sound... I'm sure it sounds better in French. He then became VP of Chassis Design and Industrialization in 2005, SVP of Research and Innovation and Advanced Engineering in 2012, and Senior VP of Stellantis Motorsport in 2016. Head of Stellantis Motorsport is where he sits today, so for me, it would just make sense for him to transition over and just take the lead at Peugeot because he's already in a very, very senior, is the most senior motorsport person in the whole group. I mean, in terms of feet on the ground, we've already seen him a few times at events. So the Citroën WRC team and also the DS Cheetah Formula E team, well, they're Citroën, DS, Peugeot, they're all part of Stellantis, and he's been in there a few times as well, heading up proceedings. So this Peugeot Formula One team would be headed up by the team principal, Jean-Marc Finot. Now for the driver pairing. Well, actually not the driver pairing yet. First, I want to specify who I think would be like the reserve test driver who would make sense for that, because there is someone, a junior in Formula 2 right now, who just has this written all over him as far as I'm concerned. Théo Pourchaire only just turned 18, like literally, I think not even 2 weeks ago from filming now. The youngest race starter in Formula 2 history, the youngest race winner in Formula 2 history, and he's French. Sacre bloody bleu. He's a Sauber Academy driver, which is Alfa Romeo, which is Stellantis. Of course, it's always risky putting so much expectation on someone so young, but Théo Pourchaire could genuinely be the next French Formula 1 world champion because the kid is just, the potential is like up tip top, mate. As for the drivers, well, obviously Pierre Gasly would be an obvious choice. He's quality, but he doesn't look like he's going to have a future at Red Bull long term. So he's French, stick him in a French team, Bosch. But I've already put him in the Puma team alongside Nico Hülkenberg from the last one I did of these. So I've gone for someone else, and it was only a matter of time. It was always going to happen, wasn't it? Of course, I'm bringing back Alex Albon. He's going to be my first driver at Peugeot. Come on, Alex. Some of that. He's got 2 years experience in the sport. He's seen big highs. He's seen low lows. He's got the experience. He's got a point to prove. I think he's still got a lot to offer in the sport. I honestly do. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I am. All right, but I do. That's just what I think. All right, I'm sorry. Alex, you're my first driver And alongside you, I think they'd throw a bit of a curveball. I think there's someone who, ex-Red Bull Academy, never got the chance to prove themselves in Formula One and has come off the back, because he won it last year, the Formula E world title. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Antonio Felix da Costa. I watched a video with, I think it was Trevor Carlin, talking about one driver he thinks never got his chance to really prove himself in Formula One. He talked about Antonio Felix da Costa because he was an ex-Carlin driver when he was younger, and just waxing lyrical about him. I do think he's quality. I think he could do a great job in Formula One. Bring a bit of Portuguese into the Formula One paddock, I don't think would be a bad thing whatsoever. Still only 29, and just like Alex Albon, I think Antonio would really have a point to prove. So the Peugeot Formula One team drivers would be Alex Albon, Antonio Felix da Costa, and then reserve would be Teo Pourchaire. All right, here we are, finally at the pretty graphical design stuff. Okay, we're going to start with the driver overalls. This is the bit of the video where there's zero script I'm reading from. I'm just looking at this, right? What are we saying? I've taken big inspiration, of course, from the Peugeot 98X, the new hypercar WEC Le Mans project, whatever you want to call it. In terms of the colour palette, you've got the grey, you've got the black, and you've got the hits of that Volt kind of slightly neon, basically Lando's quadrant colours, essentially. I love an asymmetrical design, so that's what I've gone for. We've got the 3 red slashes, which you can see in the Peugeot Sport logo, are a big part of it. Don't know what Adidas feel about that, because Adidas are very, very, very protective over their 3 stripes. So just a word of warning there, Peugeot. But yeah, number 23 for Alex Albon, of course. We've got the grey on the leg on one side and the grey on the shoulder on the other. TE. Total Energies. Now, apparently, I didn't realise this, so Total changed up their logo and their official name. They're now Total Energies, and they've got this fancy TE. So, again, good opportunity to market that to the world, I feel. Also got DHL as another sponsor on the side. We've got UPS with Ferrari. I think DHL are like, come on then, Ferrari. Let's have some of that. We'll stick our logo on the Peugeot. There has been DHL as well on the, I think it's the 308 touring car. So the fact they've got a relationship there, I feel like they could just project that here. And Sparco as well, that's also on the 308 touring car. So I've just plucked that from there. But otherwise, sponsor-wise, it's not crazy at the moment. You know, once they actually get in the sport, you'd imagine there'll be a lot more. Also, peep the new Peugeot logo. A lot of you might not have noticed, but they changed this quite recently. I think it was earlier this year. I really liked the logo they just had before this one. This one, it looks a bit more like a football crest to me. It's got the football crest shield down to a T. So I'm not in love with it. I don't hate it. But yeah, not as nice as what they had in the past. And last but by no means least, we of course have the livery. Let's have a look. You know what, not to pat my own back too much, but I'm actually really happy with how this has come out. So we've got the grey base with the not completely black, but very, very, very dark grey over the top, and then the hints of that kind of Volt yellow green kind of colour. I've gone with like a matte kind of base. I think glossy cars, I don't know, I just feel like this suits the matte a little bit more. It started glossy, but I actually ended up putting it back a bit. So should we look at some of these little elements? Let's start with the side. So first of all, this little bit here, everything that's going on here is again taken from the 98X design direction. You can see they've got, I'll put some images on screen of the kind of slices and how that all interacts. That's clearly part of their brand identity that they want to push. So I'm all for that. So I'm carrying it on. We've got the subtle Peugeot kind of line in the background here, promoting the 98X, Total Energies, all there, Peugeot. Looking all right. I've got the hatches. The hatch appears here. It also appears here on the old top of the nose as well. So again, that's just kind of enough. Oh, and on the front wing. Almost missed that as well. Got a nice little hatch on the front wing. Just kind of sets it off a little bit. Again, you've got the hierarchy of colours. You've got mainly grey, then the black, then the hits of the Volt, but obviously the Volt stands out a lot more. So I've been selective with where I put this. I put it on the kind of front wing end plates, and then a little bit of implementation around the rear wing from behind. You get a nice bit of Volt there on the Peugeot. The HL pops up there and on the nose as well. You've got the Peugeot Sport 3 stripes again. Adidas, just saying. I don't know, I just feel like from the front in particular, this just seems to work really well for me. I'm very, very happy with how this has come out. We've got Peugeot Sport on the side as well. And obviously Alex Albon's number 23. And there we have it. I mean, not bad. I think this is one of the better ones I've done recently. I don't do these as often as I'd like, but I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. I spent quite a bit of time on this last night. So that is what I think a Peugeot Formula One team right now at this time in the current sport would look like. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Did I nail it? Would you have done anything different? Were there any drivers, any team principal candidates, any engine candidates that I didn't think of? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, let me know any brands you'd like me to do going forward. There's already been loads of suggestions, but please add to the pile, because I'm not necessarily just going to go with the ones that have been mentioned the most. If there's any that really stick out to me and I'm like, oh, that could be fun, I'll probably go for that instead. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring. Honestly, Skillshare is actually quality. I would not put my name to it if I didn't genuinely believe in the product. So do check it out if you're looking to learn some new creative skills and all that. My name's been Tommo. Football didn't come home, but thanks again. Have a good one. Ta-da. I'm filming this literally. We lost yesterday, so well done to you Italians. Not many Italians watch my stuff, but if there's any of you out there, well done. You did deserve. You were better. We were better in the first half, but you were better overall for sure. So, bye.